Opening hook, relatable situation. Have you ever looked at your finances and thought, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, so why does it still feel like nothing's changing? Like, you're not broke anymore. You've got some savings, you're investing a little, you're not drowning in debt. But at the same time, you don't feel ahead. Every month feels like this weird reset. You save a bit. Something happens. Your account drops. Then you build it back up again, and you keep hearing advice like, just invest consistently, just be patient, just max out your retirement accounts. And you're like, okay, but how is this actually supposed to work when I only have like $18,000 to my name? If that's you, yeah, this video is literally about you. Introduction. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why money advice works amazingly well for rich people and horribly for everyone else. And if you're someone who's stuck between $10,000 and $100,000 in net worth, doing the right things but not seeing real progress, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out, because today we're breaking down why most financial advice completely falls apart in this exact phase of life. The big problem no one talks about. Here's the thing. Most financial advice is not designed for people building wealth. It's designed for people protecting wealth. And that difference? That's everything. Look, almost every mainstream money rule assumes you already have scale. Rules like, invest early and let compound interest do the work. Just put 15% into index funds. Don't worry about short-term fluctuations. Those ideas are mathematically correct, but they're practically useless when your net worth is still small. And this is where it gets really interesting. Why the $10,000 to $100,000 range is so dangerous. Let me show you why this range is the most misleading phase of money. Say you have $15,000 invested. You do everything right. The market returns 8%. That's $1,200 in a year, before taxes, before inflation, before life happens. Now compare that to a $2,000 car repair, a medical bill, a job transition, one bad financial decision, that entire year of progress, gone. So when people say, just invest and be patient, what they're really saying is, ignore reality for about 10 years. And that's not helpful advice when your margin for error is tiny. Eye-opening stat that changes everything. According to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the median net worth of Americans under 35 is under $40,000. And yet, most financial content online is optimized for people with stable careers, predictable income, large investable balances, which creates this weird situation where you're following advice that technically works but doesn't actually move your life forward. And psychologically, that's brutal. The psychological trap, why it feels like you're failing. Here's what most people don't realize. Between $10,000 and $100,000, money progress is emotionally invisible. You're doing the work, but the feedback loop is broken. Your effort doesn't immediately turn into freedom. It turns into numbers on a screen. And humans are terrible at staying motivated when rewards are abstract. This is why so many people quit right here, not because they're bad with money, but because the system gives them no emotional reinforcement. Why traditional advice backfires at this stage? Now you might be thinking, okay, Nick, but isn't consistency still important? Yes, but what you're consistent about matters more than where you invest. Here's the mistake. People in this range obsess over asset allocation, market timing, picking the perfect ETF, when the real driver of wealth at this stage is cash flow control and income growth. Let's talk numbers. The math nobody explains properly. Imagine two people. Person A, net worth $20,000, saves $500 per month, 8% annual return. Person B net worth $20,000, saves $1,200 per month, same 8% return after 5 years. Person A approximately $60,000. Person B approximately $95,000. Same market, same returns, same discipline. The difference? Savings rate and income leverage, not investment brilliance. But most advice ignores this because it's less sexy. Why investing feels pointless but isn't. Look, investing does matter, but not in the way TikTok makes it seem. At low net worth, investing is less about returns and more about habit formation. System-building psychological identity shift. You're not investing to get rich yet. You're investing to become the type of person who can get rich. That's a huge distinction. The false progress problem. Here's something that messes people up badly. You'll often hit $20,000, then drop back to $14,000, hit $30,000, then fall to $22,000, and your brain interprets that as failure. But financially, that's normal. Money growth in this range is non-linear and fragile, which is why advice like, don't touch your investments no matter what, is dangerous if it ignores emergency buffers, income velocity. Mental health stress. What actually works between $10,000 to $100,000? All right, let's get practical. Here's what actually works in this phase. 1. Build a shock absorber. First, before obsessing over returns, you need 3 to 6 months of real expenses in boring, accessible cash. This prevents panic selling, credit card reliance. Progress resets too. Optimize for income, not ROIA. $5 per hour raise is often worth more than perfect asset allocation. Stock picking crypto speculation. Run the math. It's not even close. 3. Automate, then ignore. Set simple rules. Fixed investing, fixed saving, fixed spending. Then stop checking daily. Momentum matters more than micromanagement. The identity shift that changes everything. Here's what most people don't realize. Between $10,000 and $100,000, the biggest upgrade isn't financial. It's psychological. You stop thinking, how do I survive this month? And start thinking, how do I design my next decade? That shift changes spending decisions, career choices, risk tolerance. And that's when money starts compounding internally, before it compounds financially. Why this phase feels so lonely. One last thing. This is the phase where you're ahead of most people around you but nowhere near successful, which makes advice confusing. Poor friends can't relate, rich advice doesn't apply, so you feel stuck in the middle. But this phase? It's the foundation. Mess it up and nothing scales. Build it right and everything gets easier. Final motivation and call to action. Look, if you're between $10,000 and $100,000 net worth, you're not behind. You're early. But you need the right advice for the right stage. Stop comparing yourself to people playing a different game. Stop optimizing tiny percentages. Start building systems, income, and resilience. Because once you break past this range, everything changes. If this video helped you see money differently, hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments where you are in your money journey.